Okay, we're going to do the last two problems on the P8 note sheet. So I have a group of friends that agree to share the cost of this yacht. Afterwards, one more person decides to join before we pay for it. So each person gets $250 back. How many people were in the original group? I guess that's important. So that's what we're trying to figure out, is how many people were in the original group. So let me think about this. The yacht costs $50,000. Okay. We were dividing it among an original group of people, which was X. And so they were paying $50,000 divided by however many there were. But then they got 2,500 back. And that's how much they ended up paying. Well, how much they ended up paying, that's the same as 50,000 divided by the original group plus 1. Both sides of the equation show what each individual ends up paying. So now that I have an equation, all I have to do is solve it. Since I have some variables in the denominator, I do have to get a common denominator. I could go through and make the first term in the denominator x times x plus 1. I can make this over x times x plus 1. I can make this over x times x plus 1. It's making a lot of work for me, though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply, just like we did the other day, everything by what that common denominator would be, which is x times x plus 1. When I do that, that first term, all I have left is x plus 1, so 50,000 times x plus 1 minus 2,500. Nothing cancels there, so times x plus 1. That's a 1. Equals, okay, so the x plus 1s are going to cancel, so I'll have 50,000 x. Okay, at this point, I'm going to distribute. Distribute there. Distribute the negative 2,500 x. That's negative 2,500 x times the x plus 1. So I will have 50,000 x plus 50,000 plus a negative 2,500 x squared plus a negative 2,500 x equals 50,000 x. Okay, well, if I subtract 50,000 from both sides, these are going to cancel. So now I'm going to do this, and I'm going to put this in order. I'm going to put this in descending order, so I have my x squared first. So I'm going to just have left negative 250, negative 2,500 x squared minus 2,500 x plus 50,000 equals 0. I don't know about you, but these numbers are getting to be obnoxious. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2,500. So if I multiply by negative 2,500, and I'm going to kind of infringe here on the bottom section, I'm going to divide by negative 2,500. Divide by negative 2,500. So I'm doing this to everything. I'm not changing the value. Negative 2,500. Negative 2,500. Okay, let's see what I got left. Well, this still is 0. We're ignoring this right now. We'll come back to that later, perhaps. This over here is just going to be x squared plus x. 50,000 divided by 2,500. We have a negative, positive divided by negative. That's going to be 20 equals 0. Okay, so now all we have to do is factor this. If you make yourself a pretty little factor box, x squared minus 20 and x, so I'll have x times x. I need a positive down here, so I'm going to make 4 negative, and I'm going to 5 positive. So I'll have negative 4x, 5x, it works down there, so my two terms are x plus 5, x minus 4. So x plus 5, x minus 4 equals 0. So I set both of those equal to 0 to find my two possible answers, x plus 5. I'm running out of room. X plus 5 equals 0. X minus 4 equals 0. So I have x equals negative 5. X equals 4. So since we're talking about people, the negative doesn't make sense. So going back to my original problem, way up here they are. How many people were the original group? Well, I just found out that that was 4. You can go back and check this, and it does work. We'll do that quickly. I know most of you are not checkers, but we're going to check anyway. So we go up here and say, okay, our original equation, we're going to do it up here where I have room. Our original equation was 50,000 over x, which we found out to be 4, minus 2,500 equals 50,000 divided by 4 plus 1. Okay, 50,000 divided by 4 is 12,500 minus 2,500 equals 50,000 divided by 4 plus 1 is 5, is 10,000. 12,500 minus 2,500 is 10,000. So really, each person in the end paid 10,000, and it all checks out. Okay, let's just do the second example so I can show you that it's just like the first example and any other examples that you're going to get like this. So you have lottery. Some people won 5 million. So just like the last problem, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to take 5 million, and that's a lot of zeros. I'll with that for a second. We're going to divide that among some group of people. That's what we're trying to find again. Before the money is divided, there's 3 more people evidently in our group of winners, which stinks, but it's what we've got here. So each person loses 375,000. Well, that's the same as if we had just taken that 5 million. My comments are getting goofy. And divided it among that original group of people plus 3. Okay, because now our group of people has 3 more people in it. If you just divide it, that's what we would do over here on the right. But if we divided it first and then we have to kind of subtract or refund the other 3 people, this is what we would do. So these two expressions are equal. For this particular problem, and we could have done this with the last problem too, but with this particular problem, these numbers are just too big. I don't want to have to keep writing these zeros. We're likely to end up having a problem somewhere. So we're going to divide absolutely everything here by 125,000. Since we're going to divide all 3 of these terms, and since we're dividing, it's going to just take away from the numerator, not the denominator. It won't change our value, but it'll get rid of some of these zeros. So we end up with 40 over x minus 3 equals 40 over x plus 3. I don't know about you, but that makes me lots happier. But we still have these goofy variables in our denominator. So, just like the last problem, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply everything by what would be their common denominator, which is x times x plus 3. When we do that, our first term after the x cancel will be 40 times x plus 3 minus 3 and nothing cancels, so x times x plus 3. Notice, okay, so 3 times x is the same thing as 3x. I can just leave that like that. Makes my life easier later. And then 40 over x plus 3 times x plus 3. Those x plus 3's cancel, so I just have 40x. Okay, so I'm going to distribute. Distribute. That's a minus, so I'm going to make it plus a negative, so I don't use it. So I have 40x plus 120 minus 3x squared minus 9x equals 40. Oops, that's a 40. 40x. Well, let's subtract 40x from both sides. Those will cancel. And let's write this in descending order. So I have negative 3x squared minus 9x plus 120. I don't want to factor that. So let's see. I've got a common factor in here. Let's divide the whole thing by negative 3. Since I'm dividing absolutely everything by negative 3, I'm not changing the value. So negative 3 over negative 3, that'll be positive x squared plus positive 3x minus 40 equals 0. Okay, so I'm trying to solve for x. So in order to do that, I need a factor. I'm putting it in my factor box just to organize my thoughts. Okay, so x times x, that's easy. I'm trying to get a positive 3 down here, so let's do a positive 8 and then negative 5. So 8x, negative 5x. So my two factors will be x minus 5, x plus 8. Equals 0. Oh, typo. X plus 8. Okay, so now I'm going to set them both equal to 0. So x equals 5 and x equals negative 8. Since I am talking about people, I am going to discard the negative solution. So my answer is going to be 5. I can go in and I can check that with my original problem, and it will work out, but I will spare you that this time. Good luck. Let me know if you need any help.